think it's a pain in the hearts of people, a lot of Nigerians. I don't know if you've gone around some of these sites. I remember years ago, and even just weeks ago, recently, we've been on so many of these sites, and Marco just reminded you of Anambra. I don't know if there's anyone in your state, and there's another big one in Edo State, that a town in Auchi is almost completely wiped out, and they've been complaining about all of this. And my question would have been, is there truly an ecological fund? But from your answer, it seemed that there is. But how can we help in mitigating the effect of the devastation caused by erosion? Because the way you spoke, I've been on your website, I have actually followed so many things you've been saying in the Senate. If we have taken the erosion issue the way we have taken so many other political issues, budgeting issues, because this has to do with the lives of the people. Well, I can't imagine a home being washed away and lives lost.
But I must say that on the erosion project, if we can implement prudently.
These are some of the pictures you can see while you answer to this. It's really, really bad. No, we can go on.
Yeah, if that's what I'm saying. The project that is being designed in collaboration with the World Bank, which is called New Map, I think it's called. If we can, and some of us have worked with them to try and ensure from the foundation level, the criteria of the kind of contractors that are used, the process. We should try not to politicize it. It should be based on competence. And what they've done is, with the Ministry of Environment, is to identify the really bad cases of erosion all scattered around the country, and be able to apply a process that will ensure that the job is started, the job is completed, and is done by competent contractors. If that, and I said about $450 million with the World Bank related to support, if we can see those projects to complete, it will have a great impact, because some of the major erosion sites have been captured on that. Now, it's now to try and find a way of insulating that from the bad practices that exist. Because even if you look at some of the contractors,
practices like what?
In the sense of most of the contractors in environment, they don't complete the projects. They just see those projects as, they just don't. I mean,
a great money spinner.
Well,
something that will come in year in, year out.
Just come in and that's a huge problem on that side. Huge. That's one of the major challenges that you have.
Yeah, but Senator, you're also in the capacity to tell us the states, in terms of first their capacity to do what they can.
The states?
Yeah, the states.
Yeah, the states. I mean, the states. What I'm talking about on the national. The states. Most states don't wait nowadays You see a lot of state governors that are doing some of these projects that, when they're bad cases. I mean, when I was governor, there were cases, erosion projects that you have to do. I mean, yes, if you wait for federal government, the level of funding. I mean, last year the funding capital project for environment was only 11 billion. I mean, that this is a sector that probably needs close to 100 billion.
This is a rather unfortunate scene here.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Anambra when we launched some projects there, and you can see a lot of houses in danger.
This particular one is in Auchi.
Yeah.
And, because we have actually followed this about 2-3 years ago, we were here, and so many houses were still on this part of town. And we went there again this year, and early this year, and we just realized that over 20 houses have been washed away.
It's a very disturbing situation, and I think that first of all, of course, there are the challenges of funding, which we've talked about, but even the funds that can be made available can only be made available so some of us will support if we can ensure that those projects will be completed. What am I saying is that, as I see this concern, I am concerned that will I rush and say give more money to environment under the present way they implement their projects? I would say no.
But you oversight them, so you could tell.
That's why I'm saying
let them do what they have to do.
You can, but you tend to find that on the issue of the oversight, your greatest level of control is ensuring at the point of which funds are being disbursed. Now, when it now comes to implementation, a lot of this we have complained that let us, for example, complete ongoing projects. You find a lot of ongoing projects 3-4 years, they're still ongoing.
Wow.
So we're doing our best. But I promise you, it's a great challenge. It is a great challenge.
Okay, Senator, let's take questions coming through from viewers, because they started coming in since yesterday, actually, when you tweeted, and so they've been coming through. So let's see. Let's start with this one from, I think it's coming from Senator Baribe. He says, we should please ask you, Rule 25 in the Senate Rule Book, which says that only the presiding officer interprets the rules. Therefore, if the Speaker interprets differently, can you blame the Senate President for his own interpretation? This relates to Rule 53.5, which states that the Senate cannot look into what sits in court about that defection matter.
Well, you know, if you notice in my discussion, I said to you that the Senate President had said we're going to meet on Tuesday. And if you notice that I have not gone into details, I think this is, since the Senate President has said that, I will shelve.
Just, I think Senator Baribe.
Yeah, I'm not going to respond to Senator Baribe, because in responding to Senator Baribe, I'm going to jeopardize the process that has started. We've started a process. We went to executive session on Thursday.
Okay. We've
agreed to meet on Tuesday, and I think that process must be completed before I'm not going to respond to that, because in doing that, I will jeopardize the process already existing in finding a solution to this issue.
Well, I have to ask, this one will seem a little bit personal, but Ngozi Okole writes in, and she wants us to find out. She said, I'll just read it the way it is. She said, one thing Dr. Bukola Saraki did not learn from his father, the great Oloye, is consistency and not destroying a house he built. He said the Oloye would have remained and struggled relevance in a house he belongs. I'm talking about, I'm sure she's referring to your moving from the PDP, which you have joined others to build, and go to the APC.
Well, I think sometimes when she makes comments, they should also check the history book. A great dad also, you remember, we were in AMPP before we built the APP, then became AMPP, and in issues of where the voices of the people back in the state in AMPP were not been listened to at that time. It was when AMPP, I was in power in Kwara State, we moved to PDP, and PDP became. So I think that if she wants to criticize me, I think it's better to criticize me than to try and make it a bit more sentimental. So our comment is
Okay. Oluwafemi just says we should please ask you, as a medical practitioner, what are your efforts on the National Health Bill?
We're working hard. Well, I think we're almost there. It's a voluminous bill. It will make a great impact, and the committee has done very well. Particularly the chairman and the Senate committee has done well. The members have all supported, and the members of the Senate too have done well in getting that. We're almost done on the third reading, and hopefully it will be passed. And I can understand people eager that by now, but because it's a bill that takes care of many aspects of health, and in those kind of issues is really the first document that will really address our health sector properly. So I hope that, I think I'm pretty confident that it will be passed in this session.
Okay, this one says it's alpha male. He says, what is keeping the PIB from passing?
The PIB. You see, I think it's still in the committee level. But a bill as important as that, a bill that affects many parts of the countries in different ways. In any political setting, those kind of bills take discussions behind the scenes, negotiations. Negotiations, I mean, in people giving here and there. Because that bill, if you pass Section A, it might improve in one part of the country, and there'll be a minus in another part. So there's got to be give and take. So that bill is not what I'll call a regular bill that would just come through the process. There has to be a lot of discussions going on. But now it's still in committee level. I think by the time it comes out of that, then,